Welcome into another edition of Where the 99 Lead. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, Where the 99 Lead. We talk about the historic 99 steps that lead to the University of Pikeville campus, but most importantly, lead from campus back into the community and into the world. Special guest today on this edition of Where the 99 Lead, joined by Katina Justice, Director of the Miss U Pike pageant. Welcome in.
Thank you.
Once again, being a regular.
Yes, I think this is my third time.
Absolutely. And then the reigning Miss U Pike, Hannah McIntosh. Welcome in.
Thank you.
Hannah wears the crown, and she is the reigning Miss U Pike. I have to ask a question, Hannah, because when you were crowned Miss U Pike, did the crown go with you to classes?
Actually, when I was crowned, it wasn't my crown yet. Mine hadn't came in yet. So I just got to borrow Caitlin's. So when I did get my crown, it was like, oh my gosh. So when I did get to put it on, it was too hard to stay put in my hair. So I didn't wear it to wash dishes, even though I wanted to.
Yeah, I understand. Hannah McIntosh, we'll talk more about you and what's in your immediate future, because exciting times are coming, I know, since you've been crowned Miss U Pike. But Katina, you've got a lot of history with pageants in general. The U Pike pageant, one of the newest for the second year, sending a contestant to Miss Kentucky pageant. But let's talk about your experiences in the world of pageants.
Well, I actually got started in the Miss Kentucky organization as a local contestant when I was in college, and I learned a lot of valuable skills through those experiences, and I met some really talented and now very successful women. I was a little starstruck when I realized that I'd actually competed against Heather French, who went on to be Miss America.
Right.
I felt like I knew her because I'd been on stage with her. And then I was reintroduced to pageants on the production side as a member of the Pikeville Junior Women's Club. They sponsored the Miss East Kentucky pageants for many years.
Right.
And I got to meet the local contestants and mentor them and see that side of competition. And I do love to compete. I love the preparation, I love the experience, so I went on and competed as a married contestant at 3 different years in the Mrs. Kentucky America system.
Yes, competition, and there is a lot more to a beauty pageant than just putting on makeup properly.
Yes.
Let's
That
talk-
is important.
Yeah, that is important, obviously, but beautiful young ladies, and all competing for a title, competing for scholarships, which is most importantly, but developing other parts of their personality and characteristics that do lead to successful careers for many of these women. Talk about some of the benefits that contestants will gain as they compete in pageants.
This is a huge time commitment. It's a huge commitment of all of your resources, and you have to be willing to learn and try new things. And that's a huge benefit that women this age can have, is being pushed out of their comfort zone and learning from mentors and people who have been through this experience before. The scholarships are the driving force behind Miss America, but there's so many other benefits of personal growth, public speaking and community service activities they become involved in, connections that they make in their community that will serve them as adults with careers, and their physical fitness, the dedication to physical fitness that they develop now, we hope will be passed on to their children and other people in their community.
I have never met a pageant contestant, whether they were a winner or 7th runner-up, that aren't extremely confident.
Yes, you have to have a lot of confidence to put yourself out there on stage with all of these women and be critiqued. I mean, you are judged, and you have to be able to take that criticism and be in the public eye like this. I mean, it's a big step from a little girl from Phelps.
Hannah McIntosh, let's talk about that little girl from Phelps. Let's talk about, first of all, you're a student at the University of Pikeville. Let's talk about your academic major and your standing currently.
I'm majoring in communication, and I am a dancer on the U Pike dance team. I'm also the captain and the assistant to head coach Jillian Darby.
Right.
I'd never been in pageants before Miss U Pike, 3 years ago? Two years ago. And it was more than just, okay, if I compete here, I'll get to go to Miss Kentucky. It was more than that. It was, I get to represent my school.
Sure.
I'm very passionate about my school. I love my school. So it's definitely an honor to be representing them now.
What year are you in now?
I'm an upcoming senior.
You can't believe it. That's why you can't get it out of your mouth. You can't believe it.
Wow. So you're on the heels of graduation, and what's your you're majoring in communications. What do you want to do with that?
I feel that no matter what you do in this life, you have to be able to communicate with people effectively.
Right.
But it's always been my dream to be an occupational therapist. My younger brother had a stroke in utero, and I watched as his speech and physical and occupational therapist made a difference in his life.
Right.
And I definitely want to be that person for someone's little brother or someone's little sister. So that's what has driven me to be an occupational therapist.
You're a busy young lady,
Oh yeah.
not only competing in the Miss U Pike pageant, but a dancer,
Yep.
a student athlete at the University of Pikeville. On your way to your senior year, majoring in communications, I would imagine that keeps you busy with classes as well.
Definitely.
How has your schedule changed since gaining the title of Miss U Pike?
Well, before I do anything, I usually call Katina and I'm like, is there anything going on this weekend? I want to go watch a baseball game. I don't know if I can leave. There's just every day it's something new.
Right.
Your day does start really early now.
Yeah, like 7:30 to work out. As soon as the workout's over with, for a long time I was going to the chiropractor. From the chiropractor we would go and rehearse and work on interview. It's just very busy all the time.
Let's talk about those workouts. Where do those come from, and who's the driving force?
April Van Hoos sponsors me.
A personal trainer.
Yes.
Here in Pikeville.
She is amazing. She's, at first I was a little scared. I was afraid she was going to be like, give me 50,
Like a drill sergeant.
Yeah, but it's nothing like that. She, if you have an injury, she'll moderate, the exercise and give you something else. So she'll push me, but she definitely knows her stuff.
That's the physical part of Miss U Pike preparing for Miss Kentucky. I want to talk about some of the other ways that you have to prepare as we get further into the show. But Katina, you've talked about competing in pageants, being on the big stage with a Miss Kentucky who went on to become Miss America. How does competing in the Miss Kentucky pageant benefit Hannah, and how does it benefit U Pike?
Well, she's a wonderful representative of what U Pike wants their students to be: successful and confident and well-spoken, and a genuine person from this area. I don't even know if I can explain how she's changed just since her first pageant.
Right.
She was first runner-up to Caitlin Minix, and she knew then she wanted to compete again, and she never stopped.
Right.
Her training was consistent. She knew what she needed to improve in, and that kind of dedication, can you imagine that much focus in 1 year and plus 6 months since she was crowned?
Sure.
If she uses that throughout her life, how successful she'll be and how many people that she will positively affect. That's what U Pike wants their students to do, is go out into the community and make positive changes.
You've been around pageants. You've had some experiences at the state level and several different pageants, but this being the second year that U Pike sends a contestant to Miss Kentucky, what did you learn year one that will help Hannah heading to Miss Kentucky this year?
I thought I was pretty prepared to send Caitlin, but it's always shocking to realize just how much effort has to be put into the preparation and how expensive and draining it can be over so many months of preparation, from paperwork to headshots that have to be submitted. These girls almost sign their lives away in this Miss Kentucky contract. And all of that's very stressful on the ladies, and it really reminded me how much support they need. Right. And how important it is for the community and their families and friends to be supportive. And I know that Caitlin had a burst of energy once she saw her friends and family at the pageant after being gone for a week and being out of touch with everyone, because you don't have time to just sit and chat and check in. And we're definitely going to be there for Hannah come Miss Kentucky competition.
Let's talk about that just very quickly. When is Miss Kentucky and where is it held?
It's held in the Singletary Center on the campus of the University of Kentucky, and it isn't this Thursday, but next Thursday and Friday are the two preliminary nights. Hannah will do her talent on Thursday night,
June 27th, 28th.
27th and 28th. And then on Saturday night, we hope that she's among the finalists who get to compete on stage on Saturday night.
So preliminaries Thursday and Friday, June 27th, 28th, Singletary Center for the Arts on the UK campus, and all of Phelps, Kentucky and the U-Pike campus will be there.
We hope.
We hope.
They've got
That could be a very intimidating cheering section.
They have to close down the Hornets Nest restaurant and just head to Lexington for this pageant. And then, of course, all U-Pike students head that direction as well and support Hannah. You were crowned Miss U-Pike in January. What's changed for you since that time, besides having a drill sergeant get you up early in the morning and put you through the physical paces? But what's changed for you since being crowned Miss U-Pike in preparing to fulfill that role?
Well, after I was crowned Miss U-Pike, it was still unreal to me that, okay, I'm going to Miss Kentucky. It was very stressful at first with school. I had people like, you can't forget about school, you can't forget about school. Because I started training, as soon as I won, I was like, okay, what next? What do we do? What's the next step? So after the gala, it was an orientation, all the paperwork was due, ads, everything was due at that time, and that was a very stressful period. But now it's crunch time. I've learned it's crazy. I've been a part of so many different things that some young girls out there would never get to experience, but I have. So I've learned a lot about community service. I've learned how to properly speak in front of people. I've learned to sing Man in the Mirror for grade school students.
Yes.
Yeah, any song they throw out there, you have to try to make them happy. But
Yes.
I've definitely enjoyed preparing. I've learned a lot.
You talk about the physical preparation because you're going to put on a bathing suit in front of
A lot of people.
a lot of people at Miss Kentucky, and that's part of being a beauty pageant contestant, and it's all about physical fitness and the rigors of that. Did you ever imagine that you would be put through those paces?
No. I remember watching the pageant last year and being like, man, I think I'm going to come back and watch this next year, and then now I'm here. But it's not just about physical fitness. It's a lot of people think, well, I have to be skinny, That's
Right.
not what it's about.
Sure.
They want to see that you're living a healthy lifestyle, you're eating right, you are exercising. It's empowering to be a young lady in a weight room lifting weights, lifting more than a lot of men can. That's awesome. That's empowering. I'm a girl power, and I want to continue doing that after the pageant. That has definitely been one of my favorite things because, I was always made, smaller, but it wasn't about, how skinny are you? Have you worked for your body? Are you toned? Have you exercised?
Sure.
So that's definitely been one of my favorite parts.
So you are pumping weight.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, she's got a killer push-up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so guys,
Better watch out.
watch yourself. Miss U-Pike, she's in the weight room, and unless you are, leave that girl alone. She lifting weight. Also, I would imagine some cardio work. And,
yeah.
Do you spend time on the track, or what all is involved in your workouts physically?
On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, that's when I pump the iron, lift weights. But on Tuesdays,
That when you flip a tire too?
oh, that's on Tuesdays
Okay.
and Thursdays. That is my cardio. We have, the agility ladder, flipping these huge tires. I could
Cold
never,
track tires.
Cold track tires, flipping those over. Swinging these weights. It's not just about running. My trainer, she says, she has this T-shirt and it's like, what do you do for cardio? She was like, I lift weights faster. So that's what we do. Yeah, I lift weights faster, but it's awesome.
Also, I know preparation, not just the swimsuit competition, but the talent competition. Let's talk about your talent and what's been involved in preparing for that.
I am singing I Believe I Can Fly.
Mm-hmm.
And I have probably sang that song 500 times, if not more,
Right.
over and over in the car, trying to perfect it. Okay, is my voice going to sound right here? I've been in booth on the stage, trying to get the choreography down. You just want to get to a place to where it's like, okay, I'm comfortable with my voice, I'm comfortable with how I sound,
Right.
but what do I look like?
Sure.
So it takes a lot of time. You just don't wake up one day and say, you know what, I think I want to compete for Miss Kentucky.
Right.
It doesn't happen that way. You can wake up and say that, but you've got a lot of work to do before you can get there. So I've definitely learned, that is one thing I've learned since January.
Now, Miss Kentucky, have you been to a Miss Kentucky pageant in the past?
Last year was my first Miss Kentucky pageant as far as being in the audience, yes.
So you know what to expect.
Yes.
How many times have you
From-
watched the video?
I've watched the video over and over and over, and every time it's like, I can't believe that's where I'm going to be standing. I can't believe this is really happening, because, like she said, you know, you're starstruck. After Jessica Casebolt was crowned, we had a dance practice at the YMCA, and I was coming down the stairs, and she was coming up the stairs, and I was like, oh, "You're Miss Kentucky!" And it was like this moment where I know she thought I was crazy, but being in the same room with some of these young women who competed last year, it's intimidating, because you know what they're capable of, you
Sure.
know how talented they are and how intelligent they are.
Right.
So I'm trying to build my way to be on that level, so I can say, you know what, I'm ready to run with the big dogs too.
I think you're ready to run with the big dogs now. Hannah McIntosh, Miss U Pike, a rising senior at the University of Pikeville, and of course Katina Justice, director of the Miss U Pike pageant. I know you're extremely proud of this young lady.
I am so proud. We had to beg her to do Miss U Pike her first year.
Yes.
She had no reason to not have all the confidence in the world. She has a wonderful natural talent.
Right.
And a great stage presence. Once she gets up there, she's really not intimidated. But it was a lot of work. It was a big undertaking, and she had to make a definite decision if she was willing to put that much time and effort into it. But once she did, she hasn't stopped.
I have to ask, Jessica Casebolt, of course, a Pikeville High School graduate who I guess is the reigning Miss Kentucky now, currently, from Pikeville. Have you had a chance to talk with Jessica and maybe get some tips from her, maybe just something that she has passed along that would help?
Oh yeah, she's been so supportive. Her and her family really have been supportive, because they know what it's like to be a person from this area. There's not a lot of young women who are involved. I didn't even know how do you get to Miss Kentucky. That I had no idea.
Right.
And she has really been, even though I think I'm older than her, she's been more of a big sister, you know, guiding me and helping me prepare.
And also adding to the hope, realizing that someone from Eastern Kentucky can wear the crown of Miss Kentucky.
Yes.
It doesn't happen often, but we feel like we have some of the most beautiful, most talented young ladies from any corner of the Commonwealth, and we have Hannah McIntosh representing U Pike this year at Miss Kentucky, June 27th and 28th, the preliminaries at the Singletary Center for the Arts at the UK campus. Hannah, we've talked about physical preparation, getting in shape for that swimsuit, talent preparation. Of course, you said you've sung your song at least 500 times.
A lot.
You've met with elementary school students,
Yes.
but also there are interviews that take place at Miss Kentucky. How have you prepared for the interviews that you will face at Miss Kentucky?
You know, you are asked questions that you would never think of.
Yes.
They may seem like they're simple questions, but when you really get to thinking, you know, you think, what would be my answer if I were asked, you know, name 3 of your favorite characteristics of yourself, you know, and you're like, I don't know, I've never thought about that. So it's a a lot of talking to yourself in the car, a lot of, interviewing other people to say, I want your opinion. I know for Miss U Pike, I actually interviewed former Governor Paul Patton.
Yes.
And it really helps to talk to other people and you be the interviewer and see what they're going to say. And then, we've had mock interviews where I go in and they ask me questions and they're like, okay, you don't need to say that. Or, okay, you definitely say that. Remember that,
Right.
So it's definitely.
Good answer.
Yeah. Bad answer.
Right.
Well, I think your interviews on the radio have warmed you up to
Yeah,
being more
definitely.
comfortable.
This is not the first time we've talked.
No. This is what, the third time?
Yeah, I think we've been up to
Yep.
the radio station twice.
Yeah. So being out there, facing the interviews, answering questions. So Hannah McIntosh, rising senior at the University of Pikeville from Phelps, Kentucky. Name 3 of your favorite characteristics about yourself.
Well, I think I am very persistent. If I set a goal, I like to achieve that goal. I'm very persistent. If I want something, I go after it. That's one of my favorite characteristics. I think that I am motivated, which goes along with persistence, and I think I have nice hair.
Good answer. All right, Hannah McIntosh. Let's turn it around. What are your 3 least favorite characteristics about yourself?
I try to stay positive. If there are negative things about myself, I try to embrace who I am. And if there's something that I just do not like about myself, then I will try to improve. But to say that I have 3 things I completely dislike, I'm going to stay positive on that.
The girl is on her way. Katina, I know you have helped a tremendous amount in preparation. You take a lot of pride in Miss U Pike and in the pageant itself. This young lady's got it all together.
I think so.
I think so. Could be our next Miss Kentucky right there.
That would be great.
Hannah McIntosh, don't forget all of us little people. When you're a big star and you are famous and you're wearing the big crown, remember all the little guys like me who did absolutely nothing for you. Okay? Don't forget all of us here. Hannah and Katina, I guess, how can the community become involved? Because this is an expensive undertaking, not just time, commitment, but financially. There's a huge commitment for the Miss U Pike to travel to Miss Kentucky. There are gowns, there are training to be paid for. How can the community become involved in supporting Hannah?
Becoming sponsors is probably our favorite way because we can give you publicity in return for your help. Beverly at Unique Boutique has always been so supportive of all of our local pageants, and she dressed Hannah for her Miss Kentucky Gala, which was the big party after her orientation. And April Van Hoos has sponsored Hannah with all of her training and guidance and nutrition plans. Hannah herself sold 350 boxes of donuts to raise $250 for Children's Miracle Network and her other fees. So yeah, if you see us peddling something, offer to take a box of donuts off our hands. We don't want something for nothing.
Get the wallet out.
Yeah,
Right.
but please, especially when it's something like Children's Miracle Network, each contestant is required to submit a $250 donation
Right.
to that charity because it's our national charity of Miss America.
It's a very important charity, but also the expense of being a contestant. There are gowns, there are so many things that have to be paid for, and a lot of expense involved. We understand that, but if someone did want to make a financial contribution as a sponsor, just for the fact that Hannah McIntosh is representing U Pike and representing East Kentucky, who could they contact to make that donation?
They would contact me and write the check to the Miss University of Pikeville pageant.
Let's get a phone number or an email address that folks that are tuned in could get in touch with you.
Well, my email is really easy to remember. It's missupikepageant@gmail.com.
Very good.
And just give me a call at 422-1829.
Got to ask a couple more questions, Hannah. These are not as tough as the characteristics.
Okay.
Okay, but I know you've been heavily involved in physical fitness, and the donut question sparked this question for me. What has been the hardest thing that you love to eat before that you have had to give up now?
I crave things that I never ate before the pageant, like pancakes.
Yes.
I used to, I mean, I never wanted pancakes, but now that I know I can't have them, I'm like, man, I'd love to have some pancakes. And pizza. I love pizza.
Yes.
And when I first started working out, it was like my body craved sweets. So it was, you know, I didn't want to be around the cakes and a lot of things. I'm just really excited for the breakfast buffet they have after the pageant.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Girls,
You've never seen girls eat until you've watched them go through that buffet.
So as hard as you have worked in the weight room and working on your physical fitness leading up to, you're going to work just as hard on that breakfast buffet the day after.
Oh, definitely. But I want to maintain.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. But I do want to eat.
That one day.
A lot.
Well, I think that she really hasn't suffered many cravings
No.
because has a very moderate approach, and you know, a little bite of something isn't going to undo
Right.
all of her hard
the
work.
work that I've put into it. But I mean, it may be like the Miss U-Pike pageant. I actually started changing what I eat then. And after the pageant, I was like, it was actually the day before my birthday. So my mom was like, let's go to Peking. I ate like 3 bites. And I was like, well, I'm over it.
Yeah.
So who knows?
There you go.
Live a
Hannah-
healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Katina Justice, Director of the Miss U-Pike pageant, Hannah McIntosh, the reigning Miss U-Pike, our guest on this edition of Where the 99 Lead. We've talked about interview and preparing for that. We've talked about physical fitness, preparing for the swimsuit competition. We've talked about talent preparation as well. You'll be singing at the Miss Kentucky pageant June 27th and 28th at the Singletary Center for the Arts. That is on the UK campus. And those are the preliminary rounds, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday in the finals competition. But Hannah, something we haven't talked about, and that's a platform. The platform you've selected, the keys to type 2 diabetes prevention, motivation, and moderation. Talk about that briefly.
My platform is very personal, and both of my grandmothers were diagnosed, one of which I live with, were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in their early 40s. And my platform before was just about awareness and education. Now I want to focus in on let's prevent it, because there's a lot of things that go on in this life that we can't prevent, but 95% of type 2 diabetes cases are preventable. So through motivation to exercise and take control of your health, and moderation through your diet or your lifestyle change, I think that if I get to spread that message across Kentucky, if I were crowned as Miss Kentucky, I think it would definitely make a great difference.
Wow.
That was a good answer.
Great
That was a good answer.
Great answer. You've been tuned to Where the 99 Lead, and today our focus on Miss U-Pike. Hannah McIntosh of Phelps, a rising senior at the University of Pikeville, heading to the Miss Kentucky pageant June 27th and 28th on the UK campus, and we look for her to bring the big crown back to the mountains and back to U-Pike. Hannah McIntosh, beautiful young lady, talented, intelligent, and the pride of all the University of Pikeville and the surrounding area right now. We wish you the best of luck, and
Thank you.
we do want you to bring that crown back down the Mountain Parkway.
I plan to do my best.
We know you will. Katina Justice, Director of the Miss U-Pike pageant, tremendous job. She represents U-Pike well.
I think so.
Absolutely. So proud of Hannah McIntosh, our Miss U-Pike, and we'll be following her at the Miss Kentucky pageant in Lexington. Hannah, thanks for being here. Good luck.
Thank you very
Katina,
much.
as always, it's been our pleasure.
Thank you.
You've been tuned to Where the 99 Lead, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, where we talk all things regarding the University of Pikeville. Our guest today, our special guest, Miss U-Pike, Hannah McIntosh. Everyone get behind her as she goes for the role of Miss Kentucky just a few days from now. The University of Pikeville brings you this program. The University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia.